Hey y'all, welcome back to the Skookum Report. I'm Bob, and I got another great Bigfoot encounter story for you today. This comes from West Virginia, in Pendleton County to be exact. This happened in the winter of 2007, on January 13th. This gentleman wishes to remain anonymous, and that's fine, and he goes on to say, I always said I didn't believe in Bigfoot, and I would say I have to see it to believe it. I love the woods and hunting, and I spend as much time in the woods as possible, and I always have. I've never seen anything until now. I still have a hard time calling it Bigfoot. I've tried to rationalize it every way possible in my own mind, and I can only come up with one conclusion, that what I saw and what I heard that night was a Bigfoot. It took me a long time to tell anyone other than my parents and my wife, for fear of being ridiculed, and now I just don't care anymore, and I want to get it off my chest, and I have nothing to hide, and I'm not a liar, so here goes. It was a Saturday night at 11:30 p.m., and again on January the 13th, and it was raining, and it was raining pretty hard too. I was driving south on Route 55 coming up on Seneca Rocks. I was towing a U-Haul trailer, and I was going about 45 miles an hour or so. Now, I had passed a gas station on my right, and then there was a school on my left. And then after the school on the left, there was this brick house that the government owns but never seems to use. And nobody has any idea what they're going to do with it. This is just before the entrance to the park and the intersection to head to Harmon. That's the direction I was heading. Passing the house is where I saw it. At first I thought it was a man in some type of special forces outfit or some type of sniper gear. My first thought was, what is he doing out here on a night like tonight, dressed like that? It wasn't running or anything, and it was just had a more like a swaggering lope. It had long hair and what at first looked like shredded material with clumps in it. This was hanging all over, all off of his body. And as I passed it, I quickly noticed that it had this mess all over, all the way right up to and over its head. It didn't seem to have a neck. It was just went from shoulders to a very large head. And I also realized it was very tall and had really wide shoulders, and its arms hung very low, just to his knees or maybe even a little past them. It was walking or sort of trotting on its hind legs like a man would walk, but kind of moved like an ape, if that makes sense. It was only about 20 feet in front of me, and I realized it wasn't a man or anything else I had ever seen. I knew that, and I got a really good look at it. The whole thing still seems to have been in slow motion, and it plays that way in my head still to this day. And in any case, it hit me. What the hell is that? I turned my truck and my trailer around in the middle of the road, not 50 yards from where I passed this thing, and I went back up to that house and pulled in the driveway, and I shined my headlights behind the house into the woods, and I couldn't see anything though. And I pulled back onto the road and into the grass where I saw it, and I stopped and shined my mag light into the woods, and it got real spooky. I heard it going through the brush, and it made the types of noises you would expect from a large creature going through the brush would make it. It seemed to be trying to scare me or get some kind of reaction out of me. You know how a deer will stomp its feet when it can't wind you, you know? It made a type of laughing, squealing noise and then a grunting noise. And it pounded together what sounded like two large pieces of wood, not sticks, but it sounded like two very large pieces of wood were being banged together, pounded together. This went on for at least close to 5 minutes. and I was just amazed. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The next day I went back and combed the area, and all I found was I found a bunch of footprints, and I took pictures, and I still have those pictures today. And what amazed me was when I did go on the internet on a friend's advice, the other people that reported seeing these things and hearing these similar sounds that I did, they looked and sounded just like mine. And these were from people that I didn't even know, from all over the country and places I've never even been. So it was just me. There were no other witnesses, so I guess you're just going to have to take my word for it. And there's just, the area is just a bunch of rugged hills, large rock outcroppings, and northern hardwood forest. And now I know there's something else up in there. And this gentleman said he lives about 10 miles from where he saw it, and he works for himself, and he has a construction business, and he hunts every year with his friends and family. And he said he didn't have an opportunity to view the face or the front of it, for that matter, because they were both heading in the same direction. And he said the wood knocking and the vocalizations that it made gave him the impression like it was trying to encourage his departure, trying to get him to leave. And he just felt real uneasy about staying once the noises stopped. He said he immediately departed and continued on home. And he waited several months to tell anyone other than his immediate family, like he said earlier. And the first person he did tell was, aside from them, was to a state park employee who told him, he said, "You've seen a Bigfoot." And he said, "I think I have seen a Bigfoot, yes." And that's a great encounter story. And I tell you what, if anybody out there listening has an encounter story of their own, or a sighting that they want to have read up on the channel, on the Skookum Report, just shoot me an email, bob.daigle75@aol.com. That's bob.daigle75@aol.com. And we'll be sure to get it up on the channel for you. And I appreciate y'all, and thank you for coming back for another Bigfoot encounter story. And y'all take care until next time on the Skookum Report.